Hi guys. Today has been very emotional for me. Oh my gosh, it is presently almost 3 in the morning. I got I got an email from my airline saying that I'm all cleared for takeoff, which means I'm able to go to training. And yeah, they literally sent that to me like a few days before I had to leave. And so I gathered my things. I was already packing throughout the month and studying the packet that they sent. But once you get that official email, it means you're ready to go. So they sent me my itinerary, my flight number. They also sent me where I was going. They sent me the name of my roommate and you know, the flight confirmation and all that. So literally like 2 days later, which is today, took a flight. I have a connection in Chicago, which is where I'm at right now. The airport is empty, so I have it all to myself. Have fun. And I'm exhausted, as you can see. Didn't sleep much last night, just thinking about today. Woke up this morning and I had to be at the airport at 4. And so my flight was at 7. They wanted us 2 hours prior to departure at the airport, which I was. And, you know, got to the airport, was very nervous. I got on my flight, got to Chicago. I have to spend the entire evening in Chicago and take the 5 o'clock flight out of here. So it's been a very emotional day, as you can see. I'm a mess. Where do I start? As you all know, I have 3 kids, and it's been it was very hard to say goodbye. My kids are really attached to me. Sorry guys, I don't have a tripod, so I'm just trying to make this happen here. I had to say goodbye. My mom flew down from Canada to babysit them, and they were dreading today. All month long they knew that I was going for training. The month went by so fast. Before you knew it, I remember telling them yesterday, hey, tomorrow mommy's leaving, and they almost had a heart attack. They wanted to stay with me as much as they could, and when I had to leave today, they were, oh my gosh, it's like attending a funeral. It was horrible. It was so hard. And I cried and I cried and I cried. I cried myself to sleep last night, and then I cried on my way to the airport today. I drove myself. I even told my husband I did not want him to drive me with the kids because it would have been too hard. So I had him go to work this morning. I know, oh my gosh. So I had him go to work this morning, and so I could spend some time with the kids as well. And then when it was time for me to go, the plan was for me to take an Uber all the way to the airport. But I called one and no one showed up. There's no one in my town where I live, which is, for some reason, there's not a lot of drivers. Nobody was coming and I was panicking, so I just grabbed my car and drove there. Now my husband, poor him, got done tonight and had to drive. I had a friend drive him all the way to the airport to pick up the car and drive back home. So everything worked out, but he just went to bed right now, so poor thing. He was supposed to be home a little earlier, but I had to go get my car. Anyways, all this to tell you guys that if this is your dream, if being a flight attendant is your dream, there is a lot of planning to be done. You know, what do you do with the dog? What do you do with your kids while you're gone? And you're not just gone a day or 2. You are gone a minimum of 4 weeks, all the way up to 8 weeks, depending on the airline. I know that my training is 4 weeks, and then I have, I think it'll take about a week to 2 weeks for the IOE. Now, IOE is where you shadow a flight attendant, and you kind of like learn the ropes and kind of apply everything you've learned in the training and apply it in the air on a real actual flight. I have a friend who just graduated from Compass Airline. Now that's not my airline, but she got her CJO at the same time as I did. Well, I just gave it away now. And I didn't pursue Compass, but she did. And she came out of there, her training was about 3.5 weeks. and then had to wait 2.5 weeks to do her IOE. So she had to stay where they trained her, and only until then could she actually call herself a flight attendant. Same thing for me. I'll be in training for 4 weeks. I could only call myself a flight attendant, a hired flight attendant, upon completing my IOE. So it took her forever because she had to fly to Chicago, and Chicago's weather was horrible. So every time the flight was canceled, she had to wait to redo it, and it took a while. So she could not go back home for a while after her training was done. And that could happen to me too. So I'll be training in Fort Lauderdale. So nice weather. Love my Florida sunshine. A little bit about me, I did move from Canada to Florida for about 10 years, so I'm very familiar with where we're going, but I won't have any time to explore it again or meet up with some old friends because I will be training. So, and I think we only have like Sundays off. I think we'll be given like maybe 1 day a week, which I think I'm just gonna sleep in because they divided us in 2 groups. So we have the A and the B group. The A starts at 8 a.m. and the B group starts at 10. And I'm starting at 8, which means I finish at 5. So from the training to the hotel, which is provided by the airline, it's about 30 minutes without, I guess with or without traffic, it's about that time. And it's very close to the airport, actually. Everything is close to the airport. From the training center, you could actually see the planes landing. That's how close it is to Fort Lauderdale. And then I know the B group, they start at 10 a.m., which is what I wanted because I wanted to sleep in a little bit. But they are not done until 7 p.m. So by the time they get to their room, it's already like 7:38 and it gets late. So I'm kind of happy of getting the early one. With that said, it's going to take adjustment because obviously I haven't trained for any airline other than working behind the counter 10 years ago for United Airlines. And I did that for 1 year, and we have to train in Cleveland, but I think it was only 2 weeks. So, and I didn't have any kids. I just had a dog. Now it's completely different. You know, 10 years later, I have 3 kids, and I'm like, it got so, I mean, it got so emotional. Like I knew I was dreading this day. I didn't know that it was going to be this hard because this is something I've always wanted to do, but just saying goodbye to my family, even if I told them that I was coming back in a month, if everything went well, because obviously if it doesn't, obviously I'm going to be back home. But you want to be thinking positive. You know, you want to go into this with 100% confidence, even though I'm a mess, because part of me is like, am I going to pass? Am I going to do well? Did I pack enough? Did I pack the right things? Because they're very specific in the packet that they give you to study, what exactly they want you to wear, what they want you to bring, what they want you to know. So you have to study. So, there's so many uncertainties. You're debating whether you're making the right choices. I remember as I was leaving and my kids were waving, I was bawling in the car. I was crying like a baby. And then I turned around. I almost turned around and went back home. And when I turned around the car, they weren't there, thankfully, because if they were, I think I would have just gone home. Part of me wants to do this because it's been my dream, but saying goodbye to them was so hard. I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't know it was this hard until it happened, and I almost quit. I can't believe I said that because this is something I've always wanted. So I want you guys to understand that this is something you want, but it'll take a lot of sacrifice starting from the day that you start training. I'm telling you, this was harder than I thought. I know you guys have loved ones. You have a dog, a cat, a mom, a dad. A lot of you guys are students, still live at home with your parents, kids, loved ones, nephews, nieces. I mean, you have to know that you will be gone for a while. And it is so outside of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? You're going to be with a stranger. I'm going to be sharing a room with someone that I have never met before. Now, again, I'm in my 40s. And I'm not in my 20s anymore, where before probably wouldn't have bothered me. And today, it's not an age thing, but you just kind of get comfortable and used to when you're older to just have your own things. you know, the only thing that I share is with my kids and my husband, so the only space. So now my space has to be shared with a stranger. We have to kind of get acquainted and get used to each other, and there's just so many things that are happening in the next couple of weeks that is so outside of my comfort zone that I am stressing out about. I don't know how to explain it. I just have so many emotion, but I'm glad I get to share those with you, because I'm sure when you go to training, you'll feel the same way. We were in a group chat with Facebook with all the people going into training. Well, some of them, you know, kind of added themselves to the chat, and there was a lot of like vomit emojis. And they're all saying, oh my God, I'm stressing out, I'm getting sick, like my stomach is in knots. And I could totally relate. We're all nervous. We all have like insecurities, and we've worked so hard to get here that once you're here, you're like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? And I'm not gonna lie, the last couple of days I've been hesitant. Like, is this still something I want? I know I want it, but now I'm like, this is really happening. We're not saying it's in a month or it's in a week, it's tomorrow. And then today I flew, and my first connection was here in Chicago, and I have to wait. I got here at 11 p.m. I have to wait until 5 a.m. to leave on the morning flight, and I'll arrive in Florida at 9. So this is a face that hasn't slept in 2 days, because I didn't sleep the night before because I knew this was coming. And now I am up all night in the airport. So the sacrifices are starting today. This is the life of a flight attendant, you guys. Unexpected things happening, last minute things happening, late hours, no sleep, no eat. And if you're eating crappy. I just grabbed some McDonald's, which is so bad for you, but I was starving and there was nothing else that's open, and there we go. You know, it's starting now. They're testing you, and you can't sleep in the plane. They actually know who you are. And so you can't just sit there and kind of fall asleep the entire flight. You're representing the airline, even if you're training, which means you need to conduct yourself professionally. So no matter how much sleep you're getting, you still have to look like a flight attendant, professional, staying up, smiling. And when I first got into the plane, my plane from Phoenix, Arizona to Chicago, as soon as I walked in the plane, I was like, this is gonna be me in 4 weeks. OMG. You know, like, you fly other airlines, but you don't realize until you know that's your airline. So I looked around, I looked at her, I smiled. She came up to me, she saw my tag. I had a little crew tag on my luggage. She's like, oh my God, are you part of the family? And I explained to her that I'm going for training, and she was so excited. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a transfer from Chicago to Orlando, which is where I'm gonna be based if I pass, if everything goes well. And she was just so excited. She's like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. And I was like, nice to meet you too. So they're really, really nice and welcoming, and it really warmed my heart. So I was really happy about that. Now with this said, the training won't be easy, and I know that. They don't give you a lot of money to train. They give you a gift card, which you can use, but it's not a lot of money. They will provide breakfast in the morning, but they won't provide lunch or supper. So you need to expect that when you are training, that you need to save up some money, because they will not feed you after breakfast. So it is on you to bring your lunch or to purchase your lunch. And so I'm going to struggle a little bit, not financially, although it is going to be expensive, but you know, just kind of eating right. And I'm not gonna lie, I've gained a bit of weight just studying this packet. I wanted to know it inside and out. So if they were to test me on day one, I wanted to know everything. So I studied, and I kid you not, 4 hours a day for the last month. I would wake up, and that's the first thing I would do before breakfast. I would wake up, not even get out of bed, grab my packet, which was by my bedside. I would open it and study, and it's repetition, you guys. Repeat. Flashcards, you name it, I had it all. And once I thought I knew it, I would move to the next one and to the next one. So I did my abbreviation, I did my 4-plane schematics, all my Airbuses. I've done, you know, all the CD codes and whatnot. So I'm really confident now because I've been doing it for a month. I've asked my husband to ask me questions. I've answered them. I've done them over and over and over again every single morning. I'm super confident. Now I've noticed in the group, a lot of people are asking questions like, oh my gosh, we're going to training tomorrow. I still don't have my stuff down. I can't memorize it. I don't know what to do, and they're panicking. See, that's what I didn't want. I don't want to come here unprepared. So really important, you guys. If they give you a packet and they give you a week, 2 weeks, a month, study every day. Now, with this said, that's why I gained weight. I would stay in bed and not eat and just kind of study all day. And by the end of the day, I'm starving, so I'm like, whatever I could find, I would eat. And I gained about 10 pounds. Now it's time to lose it. So I'm gonna go to the gym every single day at that hotel. I'm gonna hit that gym every single evening for about an hour, just run on the treadmill and lose those extra 10 pounds. But I'd rather gain weight and have this much knowledge than not know anything and be super nice and fit and whatnot. So, you know, kind of weighs itself out. So you guys, study, 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 be prepared. Don't wait till last minute. I've been packing all month long, and I was privileged because a lot of people went in training literally like 2 weeks after they got their CJO, and we were the 1 month. We had 1 month to prepare, so I was very, very lucky. If you don't have a month, you still got to put in the time to study. I would have done the same thing if my CJO was earlier. Or you could always ask to be in the next training. I mean, they're very lenient when it comes to like pushing the date one time. They won't do it continually, but if you have an emergency or you really don't feel prepared, you want to push your date, you can always do that. I've done it with other airlines. They have granted that wish for me. Unfortunately, I didn't pursue them, but I have pushed dates with 2 of them to regional, and they've allowed me to do that. So if that's the case, and you guys, you know, maybe you don't pick up on things quickly like me, I need a lot of repetition. And even that, sometimes they won't sink in, so it's a lot of work. I remember drawing on the wall, trying to figure things out. It is very hard, you guys. Schematics is no joke. Understanding the airlines, I mean, the planes and whatnot. It's a lot of work, but once you got it down, it gets a little bit easier. So you can breeze through the tests and whatnot. So with this said, I thank you guys for following me. I'm exhausted. I'm hoping, I know I'm gonna look like a zombie tomorrow, and everybody's meeting at the hotel because everybody's flying from everywhere tomorrow. I am the only one leaving that. I was the only one leaving yesterday. From my chat and from, I watched everybody's airline, you know, what time they were arriving. I think I'm the only one leaving, and I was like sad. I'm like, why do I have a red eye, blah, blah. But you know what, I'm just happy to be here. I'm gonna meet everybody tomorrow. I will look like a zombie. I'm exhausted. And I've cried all day, so my eyes are poofy. But you know what? I want to look back at this day and be like, this was the first day of my dream. And my dream is, I'm this close to like accomplishing my dream. So please follow me so you can, you know, hear about the first week, the first day, my roommate. Maybe she'll let me film her and you guys can meet her. And I want to tell you guys all about training and how it went, and if I make it or not. And so it's exciting. And don't forget, if you do apply, don't give up on the other airlines giving you opportunities, because you never know how that's going to go. So with this said, if I do my training and it doesn't work out for me, I have another airline training 2 months from now. So I always have a backup in case this doesn't work out. But you know what? You don't want to go into that with that mentality. You want to give it your all. You want to see how it works out. And I'm just hoping that I do well. So you guys pray for me. Comment below. Let me know if you guys are starting training or have done training already. Any advice to give me before I start on Monday. Right now we are Sunday morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I am not going to sleep until we board. So see you later. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. I love you. And keep that dream alive, okay? You can do it. Subscribe. Thank you for following me. Bye.